Hey, Muddle Workers, this is Gen24, otherwise known as Larry, coming at you from the workshop. How has everyone been? It's been a while. And yes, I've started a new podcast. A lot of you already knew that because I uploaded the first few episodes on this channel just to be like, hey guys, got a new show. All right, so you may have thought, man, he stopped doing podcasts again. No, that's not how it is. If you're listening to this, that means you like the show. And we have started the new show, Gamers and Gadgets, and it has its own channel. Simply, all you have to do is go to Linktree, and it's linktr.ee/Models Workshop. And it'll take you to the place where you can go and find all the places to subscribe to the Gamers and Gadgets. We are releasing every other week. We're having guests come on, and we're trying to build up our followership over there. Now, don't worry, After Hours isn't going anywhere. It's still going to be a thing when the hosts have time to come on and record. Honestly, right now, everyone is super busy, and I had talked about it on Gamers and Gadgets. I just didn't feel right recording After Hours without Yeji there, and Yeji is just really, really busy. So we're kind of doing a new thing over there. It's more family friendly. It still has a lot of humor, a lot of good information. It is not miniature completely related. It does have like role-playing games. It has board games, computer games. We talk about movies, probably a little too much, but you know, it's a lot of fun, a lot of interesting things. And I just wanted to let everyone over here know that we do have a new show going on, and it's over there. Now, you'll notice that there's a lot more time on here. Now, what's going on is my buddy Kevin Fannin of Kefa Studios has a new Kickstarter out called Banners of Honor. And I wanted to put it over here because our followership over there is on the smaller side. And over here, it's a lot bigger because it's a more robust show and it's been out for a while. So I'm posting it here because he has put a lot of work and a lot of money, a lot of heart into this project, and I want to see it succeed. Simple as that. I mean, it's already at funding. It's at 21,000 of 15,000 for a goal. And so it's going to be a thing. And he already has most of the book actually designed. He's waiting for some of the pieces of art to come back. But ultimately, it's done. It's done. He just needs the capital to go and get it printed, which is what Kickstarter is designed for. And it's just this really cool project. So I'm posting the interview that I conducted with him here as well, but it's not the entirety of the show. The show is 3 hours long, and as you can see here, it's only like 45 minutes worth of interview. So if you want to help support us and you enjoy our content, just head over to linktr.ee/Models Workshop, and you'll find all of the different ways to subscribe, including iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Basically, every place that I found that I could shove our new podcast, I shoved it. But anyways, less of me and on to the interview. Hey everyone, and welcome to Gamers and Gadgets. We have a special guest. It's actually cool because this is our first industry guest that we've had on the new show, and it's Kevin. He is part of Kefa Studios, and he has a pretty kick-butt new Kickstarter going. And now, total transparency, Kevin and I are real life friends. We have met. His local gaming shop is like less than an hour from me. It's not like we hang out every weekend, but we do know each other. So, but to be fair, this is a product that I would have got it behind even if it was a stranger, because it's actually really cool. It's a new supplement for 5th edition, and honestly, I think it does add a bit of a spin to 5th edition that a lot of others don't. So how are you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thank you.
So, so you've been a miniature painter for a hot minute, and that's how we know each other. Is we're both in the miniature painting community and painting stuff and talking about that type of deal. And it's been, 5-6 years that we've known each other. And what made you decide to do a Kickstarter for a role-playing supplement?
So, as you know, I've been focusing on painting Dungeons and Dragons miniatures for a long time. I'm very much into the role-playing community and hobby. We have regular Dungeons and Dragons game nights at my house for going on 6 years now. And I, in years past, had worked as a freelance editor for a board game magazine. I was super into board games, and I have a giant collection of board games here at the house as well. And while painting Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and stumbled across a Kickstarter that I really believed in called Nightfell, I just reached out and asked them, like, hey, would you like to be on my Twitch channel and, do an interview and hype up your Kickstarter and, doing kind of like what you're doing now, but just trying to grow and branch away from just painting minis, trying to grow my channel, get a larger audience, etc. And through that interview, I became good friends with Angelo Peluso. Actually, I take that back. I interviewed several people. I didn't interview Angelo. I just featured his Kickstarter on the thing, and he hung out and chat while I showed off his Kickstarter and showed off the video, etc., and hyped him up. But we became buddies and kept chatting back and forth, and he was happy to have the support. And they released a free sample similar to what we have on our Kickstarter page. You can download a free sample of the book right now. And when I was going through his free sample, so their project was written in Italian, translated to English, and it seemed like their English translation just wasn't super sharp. So I just started pointing stuff out. They had like consistent improper use of pronouns, like everything was feminine pronouns throughout. It didn't seem like a creative choice. It seemed like a mistake, the way it was used. So I just pointed some of these things out and told him, like, hey, just so you know, I do not have a formal education as an editor, but I did do some years of work on this board game magazine. I learned a lot, and I can tell from reading this that I can make improvements on your current product. If you're interested in having me on as an editor, I would love to work with you. And they agreed. Took about a year to get their Kickstarter ready to go. I did eventually end up editing all 3 Nightfell books, the English translations. And while reading those, and also another Italian company hired me to edit some stuff as well. And while going through this, I thought to myself, like, I can write pretty well myself. And, I'm cleaning up other people's writing. And at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I can do this and do a really good job, writing my own adventure module. There were some things that I saw that I really liked and inspired me, and there were some things I saw and I was like, man, I would really do some things differently myself. Right. So that's what I decided to do, was do it myself and see what would shake out. And through Angelo and the Nightfell team, I met all of the artists and creatives that have worked on Banners of Honor, including the animation and the music, and most of the artists. Some of the artists I found myself just by networking, and my hashtag support artists. I'm always shouting people out and promoting other people's work. So I guess it all just developed over from me doing painting to interviewing people, then doing some free editing or freelance editing. Excuse me, not free editing. That's a bad business model. That free editing,
right?
And then decided to take a shot and bet on myself and create this.
Okay, that's actually a really interesting circle, because we've always done, even when we were running after hours, we always brought people on, and it's like, hey, like this, we were like, talk about your Kickstarter. We want to know more. We want, and we can say that we actually probably helped 3 or 4 get funding, but it's amazing just putting in a little bit of effort, like, hey, let's talk, and how it can go full circle. How, like, for your case, it's like, hey, I edited this stuff, and now all of a sudden I've got my own book, and it's doing well. You had a $15,000 goal, and you're already sitting at 21,000, and it's going up. You've got 386 people. And okay, this is going to sound a little on the bad side, but I shared it out. Like, I was not tracking this thing at all. Jessica brought it to my attention, and she's like, "Hey, did you hear that Kevin has a Kickstarter coming out?" And I'm like, and it was funny because she's like, "Yeah, I could probably get Kevin Fannin on the show because this, that, and the other." And I'm like, I'm positive I can get him on the show. You know, worst case scenario, I can just drive down his LGS so we can hang out, you know.
Oh, sure.
And she's like, "Yeah, he has this Kickstarter coming out." And so I went and I signed up for it. And then I posted out like, "Hey, you know, we're probably going to have Kevin on the show. He has a new Kickstarter," giving a little bit of a shout out. And then I had a couple friends who were completely not, you know, you have no idea who they are, completely removed from you. They're like, "Man, I've been watching that Kickstarter. I've been, you know, this, that." And I'm like, oh, wow. It was that weird realization that it was way outside even my little bubble of, wow, okay, so this is a little bit bigger than even I was thinking. And he's like, "Yeah, he's totally excited. You know, I'm totally excited about it because he's an Arthurian nut. So it's right up his alley of stuff that he would love. So it doesn't surprise me that he's following this. It's just, it was kind of one of those, oh, wow, you know, this is because Yeji, myself, and everything, we've dealt with a lot of really small Kickstarters, like, you know, $500 or $1,000. They're just trying to get some miniatures made. And this is like pre 9 million billion freaking resin printers everywhere. Nowadays, it's not that big of a deal, but yeah. So, you know, and I'm looking at this and it popped out and it was like, it was a day one fund, wasn't it?
It was. We barely scraped in under the 24-hour mark, but we funded in about 23 and a half hours. And I was ecstatic about that, just to make that goal as a first-time Kickstarter for Kefa Studios.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something to be excited about. And for those who haven't seen the Banners of Honor 5th edition Kickstarter, if you go over to the page and you can go to, it's Kefa, KEFA.com // Kickstarter, and it'll take you right to the page.
Studios.
What's that?
Oh, yeah. Studios.com /Kickstarter.
My bad.
Okay.
But that's the easiest way to find it. Or you can just search up literally Kickstarter Banners of Honor and it pulls right to it. And like the artwork in it, like you said, you know, you made these connections and all of this. This isn't a thrown together thing. This is a fully developed, what you would expect to see from bigger companies that have been out for a while. And this does not, just looking at it, just does not look like a first product for a studio. This looks,
I take a lot of pride in that. Thank you very much.
Oh, and you deserve it because you have miniatures, you have STLs that people can download and print on their own with a resin printer. You have also where people can buy a merchant package for $100 for a 5-year license for the game. But you look at the book. The book is in full color. It's hardback and it has a PDF. You have Dungeon Master screens, which I thought that was a neat little thing. You've got these maps, and you can tell they're, you know, legit cartographers, fantasy cartographers that have done this work. And the inside of the books look well done. Like he said, there are samples, so go download them and go look them if you have any doubt. And you really shouldn't. Like, these truly look like I would open up this. Okay, so these books, just on a knee-jerk reaction, if I was looking at these pages and looking at that, I would say this is probably, what's the name of the studio? Swords and Sorcery? I think they did. I'm a 3.5 player, so my knowledge is a little bit back in the day, but there was a company that produced these books called Sword and Sorceries. They were supplements for 3.5, and they were a big company. Like, they produced dozens of books. This reminds me of something like they would push out, and they pushed out quality products. So for people who remember Sword and Sorcery, then you know what I'm saying. And if you don't, trust me, it's a compliment. This book looks good. It's well, it does not have any amateur feel to it at all. And
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, it's amazing. the writing is clean. The page layout is really, who did all the page layout? Did you actually do that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The page layout is done by Julia King, who's the wife of JVC Perry, who's a very well-known RPG author. He's got, I think, a Kickstarter that's still alive right now, and he does a ton of stuff on the DMs Guild and a bunch of freelance stuff also. But he's an incredible writer. Everything that he's touched so far has been golden, and as you can see from the layout, his wife is supremely talented as well.
Yeah, like it is, and that, I think that's honestly a key to why this book looks so good, is that, and take a lesson for anyone else who wants to do a Kickstarter, is you didn't try to do all the work yourself. And I think that was key. You were like, layout? No, I didn't do the layout. And that's awesome, because you realized, hey, I can't do something like that. Let me reach out to who can. Hey, I can't draw like this. Let me reach out to who can.
For sure. It was about building a team of the best professionals that I could find and that I could afford. My friend Sammy and I, his name's also on the cover of the book, we pooled our resources for this project. So over the last year, we've put every extra dollar that we have into Banners of Honor. And between the two of us, we've invested about $20,000 to get the project where it is right now. And we're using the Kickstarter to fund the printing and production of the actual physical books. And we're hoping to get some more stretch goals unlocked so that we can get some assistance with additional artwork and stuff like that. But the reality is, to create the book that we want to make at the level that we want to make it, it's probably going to be more of a financial investment for us. And then we will have to slowly make that up over the next couple of years as this business gets going. They say most businesses don't make a profit in the first year, and it's more than likely going to be true for us as well. But we just have to keep making the right decisions for the consumers and for our fans, so that when we do our next Kickstarter, which, believe me, will be something much more smaller and easier to manage, which is what we should have done to begin with. But our next Kickstarter, we want all of the 386 backers that we have right now to believe in us and know that it's a strong product and they can rely on us to deliver. So we're just going to do whatever we have to do to, see this thing all the way through. And I'm very excited about the work. Like I showed you earlier, we're still getting artwork back from artists right now, and it's, the work continues.
Right. And I'm scrolling through your Kickstarter as we're talking about this, and just the list of people like that you have on board. It's you and Sammy, and then you have numerous graphic artists. You've got 6 different graphic artists. You've got music people, voice people, interior illustrators out the wazoo. You're almost over 10 of those, 3 people that are guest writers. And you can tell that I love projects like this. Like, I truly love projects like this, because there's a lot of projects on Kickstarter nowadays that they're basically using Kickstarter as a source of advertising, or it's just what they
pre-sales.
Do. Right. Cool Mini or not. 100% guilty of this. Reaper, kind of guilty of it.
Yeah, all of those bigger companies, and it's a great business model. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you get to sell the product before you make it. You know exactly how many you need to make, etc. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is a legitimate startup, and we are absolutely relying on these Kickstarter backers to, help us make this a reality. If the Kickstarter doesn't fund, then we'd have to take a serious look at the project and see if we wouldn't give up, because we don't have that in us. But I think we might. We would have had to consider putting it on the back burner and taking a different route for the first project. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, I'm glad to see it fund. And honestly, I can see that 20,000 going up by quite a bit, just on the simple fact of, as it reaches more and more people and more people hear about the project and what's going on with it and what it is, because you're kind of going into a niche that people have wanted. I think the biggest thing that I've heard was jousting rules. They've got jousting rules. people
yeah,
have loved that. And that's just one tiny element of your book. So
it is. And that's one of the things. If I would have known how popular and important that part of the book would have been, I probably would have started with a short, like 100-page Kickstarter of just fully fleshed out jousting rules with, mounts and creatures and stuff like that, instead of tackling this giant project straight out of the gate. But yeah, I'm still very excited about our jousting rules. We have 4 different breeds of giant lizards just on their own that players can purchase and train and use in the joust, and not just in the joust, in combat. They have a range of different abilities and keywords that make them unique choices for jousting. I'm trying to find them here. I've got a bunch of stuff open on my computer so that I can flip through and talk to you about what's going on. So just our giant lizards. We have one called a desert runner. They usually come in shades of yellow and brown and tan, and they make excellent mounts or pack animals. So those are our basic run-of-the-mill giant lizards, right?
Right.
Our gray tree monitors. These are usually muted in color and have the ability to spider climb. They're a little more expensive because of their versatility outside of jousting. The aquatic horned lizard. These can come in any color, but always have a horn on their head and the ability to hold their breath for up to 15 minutes. They also have a swim speed of 30 feet. Glamorian tree dwellers usually come in shades of green and have the ability to spider climb. In addition, they can cast poison spray from their mouth as an action once per day. And finally, the ember eaters. These lizards come in vibrant, warm colors and have a fire breath attack that deals 2d6 damage, recharging on a 5+. So that's just their non-jousting versatility, right? For all these different types of giant lizards. So we have 4 different breeds of horses, 4 different breeds of giant goats, etc. So we're just, did I say 1, 2? Oh man, we started with 4. Now we're up to 5 of each breed. So yeah. So it keeps growing as we get, more and more ideas. Or I think actually I made 5, and then it was like, okay, I have to go back and make extras of the others. But
see, that's also would be a good idea for an additional next time around.
For sure.
The next supplement could be the mounts of Banners of Honor, where you have like 5 additional ones of each type, and
and like equipment, exotic saddles, etc.
Right. Man, I'm not gonna lie. I am even more hyped that I back this, because this is just super, super cool. And it's very affordable. Now, the early bird special has stopped. I hopped on for the early bird, and for $60, you get a digital PDF and the hardcover book. Mm-hmm. And you get your name printed in the book, and you have updates and pledge manager. Now, currently, your most popular pledge level is 90, which you get all of that's previous, and you get the GM screen, which is a $15 value because I added mine on, and you get the STL miniature package, which is, I believe, 5 miniatures currently?
And wait, this is for the $60? I'm sorry.
No. For the $90.
So the $90, you get everything. You get the hardback book, you get the PDF, you also get the Dungeon Master screen and the miniature STL files, which starts with 5 miniatures, but we're hoping to see some stretch goals. It'll probably be the last 48 hours. We'll see another burst of excitement on the Kickstarter.
Right.
But each stretch goal, each miniature stretch goal unlocks 5 additional miniatures. So,
oh wow!
If we got through all the planned stretch goals that we have, there would be a significant number of miniatures, and it's all the same price. So if you have the miniature package, you get everything that we unlock, no matter how many it is.
Now, how many? Who did your sculpting?
The sculpting was done by Clute of Epic Adventure Miniatures. He's based out of California.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at these. These look phenomenal. These are some good-looking minis.
Yeah, I am in the process of painting my first one right now, and I'm quite happy with her. I just have to put some finishing touches on there. Go the extra mile.
Right. I really like the Betrayer King. I'm not gonna lie. He's probably my favorite of everything. Though the Ragnarcore, I like that, the Ragnarcore. The Ragnarcore is cool, but the Betrayer King, I just love the details, the cloak, the armor, everything about it. It's just cool. Like I really love it. I love the fact you have these 3D renders going on too, where it shows everything and they're clean. Like these renders look good.
Oh yeah, I like I said, some of the graphic designers and some of the artists on the team, they're able to create things that blow me away. When I see them, I'm like, wow, that's part of my project. That's pretty cool, you know?
Man, I cannot even imagine being in your shoes when people like earlier you posted or no, you sent it to me in a message. You're like, look at what I just got, and it was a map, and I'm just like, wow, that is really really good looking. That is really well done. And yeah, because this is work that you're not working on, and all of a sudden you're getting it and you're like, wow.
Well, in a sense, like the reality is a lot of the maps and stuff, I have to sketch them out myself, and then I send them to someone else who can make them much nicer looking.
Right. I get that. But you have a general idea, but you don't know what it's going to look like in the finished project. And then when you get
for
it,
sure.
And when you get it, you're just like,
it's like Christmas morning. Like when it was really going hot leading up to the Kickstarter page preparation, I would wake up in the morning and sometimes have work in progress from a half a dozen artists, and it was like made me so happy. I was just like, wow, this is it was really special to see all the work come together and how everybody was willing to implement parts of other people's work, like heraldry and things of that nature, to help tie the whole universe together. So one artist would create something that inspired me, and then I would say, okay, let me see if I can give you a direct example. So on the actual map of Kirill, which is on the Kickstarter page,
I've looked at it. Yeah,
there's two chalices, one with overflowing with water and the other with fire coming out the top, like the goblet of fire or something. And when I saw the border of the map, I was like, this is really cool. And so I had one of my other artists use the map as reference and create actual magic items for the book out of those chalices. So we've incorporated those two items as, special magical artifacts that the players can acquire in the adventure.
Oh,
and it looks like it was all artfully planned and, masterfully executed. When the finished goods come out, it'll be like, wow, they incorporated the magic items on the map, but it's actually absolutely the opposite. I just take inspiration from the things that are turned in. And
hey, you know what? That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. When I looked at the map, I actually, one of the things that jumped out at me were the chalices. Like I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. The duality and everything, how it's drawn together. Yeah, like, dude, congratulations. Like straight up, just congratulations. This is, not only is it a successful Kickstarter, it's just in a vacuum, it's just an amazing product. This is something that I would have no problem going to a gaming shop and going, hey, you probably should look at this as possibly a product you want to keep. And actually, in all honesty, I probably will if I have a chance. If I get to any game shops, I'll be like,
yeah, that's
hey.
On our list of things to do, like this evening or this coming week, is to reach out to as many local game shops as possible and just give them a heads up, like, hey, startup company working on this project and trying to get it in game stores. So with a 50% discount for brick and mortar game stores, and we have a level design for them. So if I can get this on the shelves of as many game stores as possible, that would make me super happy.
Yeah, for $187, a game shop can get 5 physical hardcovers and 5 of the GM screens. And that is a really, really good deal. And hit me up after we're done here. I've got a few shops like on the Ohio side where I work that I can definitely name drop and be like, you might want to reach out to these people because I think they would be interested. So because like I said, I want to see this succeed, not only because you're my buddy and everything, but it's just an awesome, I want to see 10 supplements or expansions down the road of now we're in the next kingdom over and we're talking about this stuff. And, just because it's awesome and you're honestly, you're using Kickstarter the right way. You're using it actually to kickstart a business, which was honestly, if you didn't know back in the day, that's what Kickstarter was for. I know it's a mystery for our listeners. Like, really? I thought it was a pre-order website.
Yeah.
But it's just, this is lovely, man. This is really, really just awesome.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy to be an early backer of it, simply because, not only do I like supporting my friends, but also just because it's really well put together. It is truly a project of passion, and it's a good project. There's two different types of projects of passion. There's the ones that people will pour everything into, and it's like, and then there's the project of passion where it's like an amazing idea, and their passion is going to force it through no matter what, get the right, proper support they need, and get it done right. And yours is most definitely the second one. This is a passion project, and you're doing everything to get it done properly. So,
well, I appreciate you saying that.
So in closing, is there anything that you would like to let people know about the project? Is there anything that you want to talk about? Any questions that people have asked that you want to answer?
So yeah, I've just gotten a question about having a digital only pledge level where you can get like the digital STLs and the PDF. Mm-hmm. And the way we've designed it, just to let everybody know, you can choose any one of these pledge levels, and you'll have the option for add-ons. So if you just do the $30 PDF, you'll have the option to add those digital STL files to your pledge level. Also for $15 more for the miniatures. So for $45, you can get the complete digital set. So that's just something I wanted to clear up because I've got a question about that this morning. As far as the miniatures, a lot of people want actual physical miniatures. We are not shipping physical miniatures just because anytime you're adding additional physical products, that complicates things, mm-hmm. For a new upstart company like us, we wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So we're going to be looking at our digital STL merchant tier. For $100, these backers will have the rights to print and sell these miniatures on their on their online miniature shops or whatever the case may be. And we're going to make sure that all of our backers know who these shops are and where they can be found, so that the people who are backing our project all have access to the miniatures. And those who are spending the extra $100 for the digital STL merchant tier, we're trying to make sure that they get their money back as quickly as possible by letting all of our backers know, hey, these are the ones these are the companies that you should reach out to have your miniatures made. And, I think they'll be able to make $100 back easy, like absolutely no problem. So that's a steal, really. It's just that we could not provide physical miniatures, but we want everyone to be able to have access to them.
Actually, one of my co-hosts who does miniature printing did have a question about the miniature painting, or the miniature printing.
Merchant tier?
Yes.
Okay.
What is your structure? What is your guarantee for people who do it for 5 years? And let's say in 5 years' time, someone wanted to re-up and wants to do additional printing. Do you have ideas on that, or is it kind of you're going to wait until the 5 years happens and then see how it goes? Or
yeah, I legitimately have not put a single thought into that. Generally, I'm very, very easy to get along with and do business with. So it just depends on I don't know what my business is going to look like in 5 years. By that point, I may have a dedicated printing shop somewhere that makes miniatures, and I don't know, man. People who I could never see a world where I'm like, you can't print my miniatures anymore. Like, yeah, it's guaranteed for 5 years, but I don't think that when the 5 years is up, I'm going to hunt these people down and make them stop printing my models. I just probably put the 5 year thing in there because I saw it on some other Kickstarter. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, but I've seen some that are a year, and she was like, I'd feel a lot better about backing it at that rate if it was a lifetime, and so that'll probably make her feel good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was We actually talked. We recorded last night. You were busy watching the awesome movie that we discussed a lot on the main show, and we talked about this because we weren't 100% sure you were going to make it. You scared me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. When you were like, "So what are your numbers like?" and I'm like, "Oh Lord, he's going to run away."
Oh no. Look, bigger numbers are always helpful, but someone helped me when I was very small, and I just try to pay that forward every chance that I get.
Yeah.
However, to be perfectly honest with you, it did make me, prioritize seeing the movie with my family over doing a podcast for yesterday evening. But
oh no, I have absolutely. I even said this on the show. I have if I would have known that you had plans to go watch a movie with your family, I wouldn't even have thought about asking you to come on last night. I don't care if we had 1 million people that listen to us. Like, this is no problem hopping on a couple days later, even next week, and sitting down and talking about it. But family is family, and family time, you know what I do for a living. Family time is very important.
That's the time we don't get back, right?
Right. And I knew we would eventually make it work. And even if you'd have been like, "Hey man, your show's kind of, too small because I'm super busy." I get that too. It wasn't like I was going to come on my show and drag you. No, we talked about it and we're like, "Hey, he might not be able to come on because life happens." And I wouldn't have, it wouldn't have been a thing off, my thing. And I was actually I was using an example. It's like, share the show out to people because, we want to be able to get more guests, and my numbers, it's not for just advertising. It's to reach out and talk to people. Like right now we're averaging at about 30, which honestly for a brand new show, it's not horrible. I remember when After Hours first launched, we didn't have this for like 5 or 6 episodes. And right now, no one is pushing us because we only have 4 episodes recorded and up. So everyone's like, "Oh, this is just an upstart show." You usually don't start getting pushed from like iTunes and stuff until episode 20.
So After Hours is another show that you do?
Yeah, I run Models Workshop After Hours. It went on a hiatus. And we were basically the bug of 1920, kind of just like everything. You would figure that since everybody was off and we'd have time to sit down and talk, it'd be the perfect time. But it really made us realize how much of our show was talking about going to conventions, talking about going out to the LGS and doing things and prepping for convention.
Oh, sure.
And then when it happened, we just ran out of stuff to talk about. Plus, I was in the process of getting a divorce. Yeji had a whole bunch of stuff going on, but we recorded up to like episode 126. And we have
that's impressive.
Right. We have a pretty loyal backing over there. So what ended up happening was I decided that I wanted to do this, but After Hours was explicitly a miniature painting podcast. I know it sounds weird to have an audio podcast about miniature painting, but hell, we made it work. So but we were also very, very crude on our language. Very
oh, sure.
Yeah. So it was a very adult themed show, which is not a problem. But when we relaunched with this, it's like, hey, one, I don't feel right not having Yeji on After Hours because she was my ride or die right-hand person. Hell, people thought we were married. Like we literally received messages thinking that her and I were actually a couple, even though her husband was on the show. We laughed our asses off. It's like, oh no, we would have murdered each other by now. Hell, we're not even on the same side of the continent. She's in Las Vegas and I'm in Indiana.
Right.
So it was basically, I decided I wanted to do a podcast again. Yeji's like, I can't, I'm just not in a place right now where I can. And I was like, all right, cool. And that's totally understandable. She's got a lot more family commitments going on right now. So what happened was I was like, you know what? I'm going to launch a new podcast. And this is it, Gamers and Gadgets. And it's a lot more broad. We can talk about role-playing games. We can talk about miniatures. We can talk about nerdy movies we watch, like the new Doctor Strange.
The movie was great, by the way.
Oh, dude.
One of my favorite characters got done so dirty, but other than that, no complaints at all.
Yeah, like I literally had 4 scenes where I wanted to jump out of my chair and go, what the? It was just, oh, I love that movie. Like I have to give a weird look to people who are like, I didn't like it. What?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and when I saw when the credits rolled and it said directed by Sam Raimi, I was like, oh, it makes so much sense now.
See, that was one of the very few things I knew about the movie, was that it was directed by Raimi. I know originally it was supposed to be a hardcore horror movie, like hardcore horror, but then they decided to make it a little bit more family friendly, which I thought was a detractor. Like, you could look at some of the things that happened and we're like, I bet you that was edited down to make it PG-13, because the original cut was also supposed to be R. So, like, I even posted
see that. Hopefully there's a director's cut later.
I said the exact same thing on Facebook. I was like, 1, go watch it. Wow. 2, I really hope there's a director's R-rated or not rated cut, because it needs it. 3, I just made a list of everything. I was just like, man, I like this new version of the MCU even more than the old one.
Yeah, anything's possible for sure.
But yeah, so we ended up relaunching, got a couple new hosts. One of them is an old host from After Hours. And then I got a brand new host, and we decided to do this project. And it's a little more open. It's family friendly, little to no cussing. So it's more marketable. So because we wanted, this is an exact prime example of that. We wanted to be able to bring guests on to talk about their Kickstarter and make it where they could share it with their family and friends. Because beforehand, the old show, you really couldn't. This one, you can be like, hey, I talked about our product, go listen to it here. So
that's probably, I'm running through my head trying to make sure that I haven't been swearing this whole time.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You've been good. You've been good. I have to watch myself too sometimes. But honestly, not to toot your horn, but yeah, man, congratulations. This thing is just, it's what any amateur, and I'm saying that loosely, any amateur startup company should look to emulate this right here.
Well, thank you. And to everyone out there listening, please check out kefastudios.com/Kickstarter to get straight to the page, or you can just search Banners of Honor on Kickstarter. It'll take you there. We do have a really nice promo video, if I do say so myself. I'm very proud of the production, the animation, the voiceover. I get so many compliments on the voiceover on that, and that's a actress named Chloe Eves, and very, very proud of the work done there. And what else do I got? I mean, obviously the free samples. Check that out, and most importantly, if you just share this project out, even if it's not quite for you, or maybe you can't afford to back another Kickstarter, or whatever the case may be, just sharing it on social media will help this thing grow. I'm trying to knock out as many stretch goals as possible so that we can make this book everything that we envision that it can be. I refuse to release, a subpar product for our flagship product for our new company. So we're going to do the work and make it everything that it's supposed to be, no matter what. However, a little bit of financial aid getting there would be much appreciated. So if anything you could do to share it out, shout it out, come back to project. That's what I need more than anything in the world is
and a prime example of that is I shared it out, and I had someone that I had no idea who was tracking this product go, wow, this is something that I've been watching for. And that's a very important note. Even if you don't back it, share it, because you never know who in your friend circle has been waiting for a product like this who doesn't know that it's out.
Yeah. And I don't know what the international reach of your show might be, but we've had some questions about the international shipping costs, because we have 2 columns of numbers.
Okay.
Excuse me. So like Canada says $36, and then it says $20 with an asterisk. UK is $28 and then $12 with an asterisk. So basically, the first number, the bigger number, is what it costs to ship the book from California to your country. And then the second number is if we get enough local support in that region, then we will be able to contact partners that Nord Games has in that region and ship from China directly to that partner, and then make shipping much cheaper for the consumer in the end. So I've told the number is around 200 books. So honestly, it doesn't look like we are going to unlock any of these at this rate, but that's the explanation. So if we had 200 backers in the UK, shipping would go from $28 to $12.
Okay. I did see those. I did actually see the double numbers, so that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it's all in the writing too, but a lot of people will just look at the pictures and
right.
Fine. That's what the pictures are there for, just to make people look at those and back the project. So, yeah, do you have any other questions, or
no? I
talk about whatever you want.
I think you covered pretty much everything about the project. So maybe, like I said, if you think stuff or if something exciting happens, you have 24 days to go. We are recording again in 14 days. So if you want to hop on, or even after the show, you are more than welcome to reach out and be like, hey, and any time that you have a project that comes up and you want to either come on during or before to hype it up a little bit, feel free. And hopefully by then we'll have a lot more listeners.
That sounds great.
I was actually planning on going out and contacting websites about advertising, like legitimate advertising for the new podcast. But then the indoor swimming pool in what was formerly known my finished basement happened. And
oh no.
Yeah, my entire finished basement completely flooded with like 8 inches of water. And so it's done like $20,000-$30,000 in damage. So it's
oh no. So what was down there in your sort of like, I know a lot of people put game rooms or bars in their finished basements.
We hadn't put the game room down there yet, luckily, but I had a home theater down there, and some other stuff. It was actually kind of empty, which is lucky. So the damage could have been a lot worse. And most of the stuff in the home theater was wall mounted. And so that was good. And nothing shorted out, as far as something shorted because it blew apart my entire panel. My breaker panel, but none of the home system, as far as I know, shorted out. So we should be good there. It's just a lot of stuff, like treadmill got damaged, and this, that, and the other. It's just a pain in the butt.
And walls and trims.
Oh yeah, there was carpet down there, and there was walls down there. There isn't anymore. They already ripped all that stuff out.
Oh my. Well, yeah. Hope your insurance company takes care of that for you, bud.
Oh yeah, they're already working on it.
All right.
That's 1 million pounds of paperwork in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And until next time, my friend, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, later, man.
Bye.
Bye.